He waited 32 years for the state to take his life. The families he destroyed waited just as long for justice. When punishment takes a lifetime, what do we really call it? Justice or vengeance? October 17, 2025. Arizona carries out the execution of Richard Kenneth Djerf, a 55-year-old man convicted of murdering an entire family in Phoenix back in 1993. The crime was brutal. The motive, revenge. And the journey to justice? It took more than 3 decades. Tonight, we revisit the story of the Luna family murders, a case that haunted Arizona for years and reignited debate over America's death penalty. The year was 1993. In a quiet Phoenix suburb, the Luna family, Albert Luna Sr., his wife Carmen, their son, Albert Jr., and their daughter, Patricia, lived an ordinary life. But behind that calm, a man named Richard Djerf was consumed by rage. Djerf, then 23 years old, had once been friends with Albert Jr. The two had shared music, laughter, and teenage curiosity, but that friendship turned sour. Djerf believed that Albert Jr. had stolen from him money, jewelry, even music tapes. He felt humiliated, and humiliation turned to obsession. On September 14, 1993, he decided to take revenge. He dressed as a delivery man and drove to the Luna home, carrying a box that hid his weapons, a gun, rope, and tape. A man knocking on a suburban door, gloves pulling tight, a package placed on the floor. Djerf bound and assaulted the family. He shot Albert Sr., strangled Carmen, and killed Patricia and Albert Jr. Before leaving, he set the house on fire, trying to erase what he had done. But fire couldn't burn away the evidence. Police quickly traced the crime back to him. His car, his fingerprints, and stolen property found in his possession. The Luna home, once filled with laughter, became a symbol of unimaginable loss. Djerf was arrested and charged with 4 counts of first-degree murder, kidnapping, sexual assault, and arson. He confessed in detail, describing each act with chilling calmness. The trial began in 1995 and captured national attention. Prosecutors called it one of the most cold-blooded crimes in Arizona's history. The defense argued mental instability and childhood trauma, but the evidence was overwhelming. In 1996, Richard Djerf was sentenced to death. Yet that wasn't the end. It was only the beginning of a long, uncertain road. Like many death row inmates in America, Djerf entered a system tangled in appeals, reversals, and moratoriums. His lawyers argued ineffective counsel. They appealed based on evolving death penalty standards. Each motion stretched the time. While the victims' relatives aged and waited, the legal clock ticked slowly. For nearly 3 decades, Djerf remained behind bars, appealing, waiting, and surviving, while others around him were executed or had their sentences commuted. For the Luna family's surviving relatives, it felt like justice on pause. But in early 2025, the Arizona Attorney General announced a change. Djerf's execution date was set. On October 17, 2025, after 32 years on death row, Richard Djerf's story ended where it began, inside the Arizona State Prison Complex in Florence. The victims' relatives sat silently in the witness room. Some cried, others bowed their heads. One family member whispered, "Finally." At 10:41 a.m., the lethal injection began. By 10:55 a.m., he was pronounced dead. Outside, protesters gathered, some carrying signs reading, "Justice for the Lunas." Others held candles, opposing the execution itself. For the state of Arizona, this was only the 4th execution since resuming lethal injections in 2022, after years of controversy following a 2014 botched procedure. Officials confirmed that Djerf's execution was carried out without complications, but the emotional scars, on both sides, remain. Every execution in America raises the same question: is justice truly served, or is it simply delayed vengeance? Supporters argue that the Luna family finally received closure. 32 years of waiting, 32 years of appeals, 32 years of pain. Those 4 innocent victims deserve justice, said Arizona's Attorney General during the post-execution press briefing. But human rights advocates see it differently. They call it state-sanctioned revenge and point out that delays of this length often turn punishment into cruelty, both for the families and the condemned. Between 1976 and 2025, the United States carried out over 1,580 executions. Arizona ranks among the top states, along with Texas, Florida, and Oklahoma. Yet public opinion is shifting. Fewer Americans today support the death penalty than at any point in the last 50 years. Critics cite racial disparities, wrongful convictions, and the enormous cost of maintaining death row systems that stretch decades. Others argue that the slow, bureaucratic pace defeats its purpose, that justice delayed becomes justice denied. Still, for the Luna family, this day was long overdue. They watched a man who had taken everything from them finally meet the law's consequence. For them, this was closure, not celebration. Where justice meets humanity, the story of Richard Kenneth Djerf is not just about murder or punishment. It's a reflection on how far revenge can drive a person, and how long it takes for justice to find its way back. Revenge destroyed 4 innocent lives and consumed another. Decades later, we're still asking, when justice takes 32 years, what does it really mean? I'm your host. This is True Justice, where law, morality, and humanity collide. Like, comment, and subscribe for more real stories where justice meets truth.